One of the illusions that we suffer from is the idea that the personality that we take ourselves to be exists as a consistent reality. It doesn't. As I said here before, the only thing that really, there may be a few things that stay the same, like your name, but I can't think of anything other than that doesn't change. Your body's changing every moment. Your experience is changing every moment. Your thoughts are changing every moment. Your emotions are changing every moment. The world's changing every moment. Can anybody think of anything that stays the same? And yet we have this belief that the personality remains the same and is unchanged. We have this belief that this character that I am is the same tomorrow as it is today, as it was yesterday. In reality, when you begin to wake up, you realize that's simply not true. There is no such thing as a personality that stays the same. The personality is constantly changing, constantly making adjustments, constantly adjusting itself to deal with the new challenges or the new threats that are showing up, or constantly adjusting itself to pursue the next thing in terms of what it wants, the next attraction. What's going to happen next? What do I want? What do I want to make me happy? And what do I want to make me feel safe? What do I have to do to get what I need to make me happy and feel safe? I have to plan on that. I have to look that up. I have to act on that so that I can pursue happiness and have safety and well-being. And that's something that I get up every morning and do all day long, and then go to sleep at night and get up the next day and do it all day long again. It never results in a consistent experience of well-being. And I don't notice that because I'm being promised all the time that it's right around the corner. I don't notice that because everything that turns out not to be that which will give me this consistent experience of well-being and happiness and safety, every time that doesn't work, there's plenty of people out there and plenty of subjects out there, especially now with the internet, that are waiting for your attention to tell you, but how about this? Try this. This will get the job done. And the bigger it is, the more it costs, the bigger the promise of it, right? Everybody knows a new car is better than a haircut. Right? Costs more, but that's okay because it gets the job done. We continue to believe that, even though it's naive. We continue to believe that because it's it's a way that we have been conditioned. And unless you can get out of that conditioned state, it operates automatically. You're just part of the machine. You're being part of the machine that's operating automatically every day, trying to get better at it, right? Trying to improve it, self-improvement, right? Trying to get better at it, trying to figure out, how to win the game permanently, how to find the right person that'll be the love of my life instead of just the next victim, or making me the next victim, right? How to find the right job, how to find the right amount of money, how to find the right car, the right house, the right country, the right political party. It's an ever-changing landscape, and so the personality is in this condition in which it keeps failing, but it never gives up. Keeps failing, but every time it loses the value that it got out of something, it looks again, and there's always plenty of opportunities there. Try this. If this doesn't work, try that. If this doesn't work, try this. And there's no end to it. There's no end to it. So this is the thing that we're trying to see clearly so that we don't keep playing the losing game of being a personality and thinking that a personal life can succeed. And in the meditation practice, what we're talking about, one way to talk about this, there's many, many ways to talk about this, but one way to talk about this is to talk about balancing the nervous system, so that if the nervous system is balanced, it becomes possible for transcendence. The way one of the Zen teachers talks about this is he says that you could say that the aspect of the nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system, is the aspect of the nervous system that is the fight or flight aspect. And so that aspect of the nervous system is constantly in a process of paying attention to see what's coming that will be threatening, or to see what's coming that will be fulfilling, that will provide pleasure. It's constantly in that operation. And the other side of the nervous system, the asympathetic nervous system, is just trying to relax. Just trying to relax. The body's just trying to relax. It's not very successful at it because it's being stimulated all the time by this other activity in the mind, right? Causing it to experience stress, causing it to experience sleeplessness, causing it to experience dis-ease, right? Causing it to experience being worn out, tired, okay? So this business of practicing meditation as with the idea that it's a matter of practicing being in balance. How do we do that? Well, what's out of balance is the idea that we're identifying with the mental activity, which is called the personality. We're identifying with that, right? And so when we identify with that, we are instigating the imbalance by identifying with that, because that's the aspect of the nervous system that's constantly active, you know, and sometimes very active depending on what threats appear to be happening. Never gets any rest, never gets any peace. And so through the practice of meditation, what we're doing by moving attention away from the thought process, which is where this activity is occurring, that's causing the imbalance, by moving attention away from that and paying attention to the body breathing. And when the body's breathing, right, and we settle and the body settles, the breath starts becoming more balanced. If you do breath exercises, if you do deep breathing breath exercises, which you can find these programs on the internet, you know, where you start breathing, you know, and it usually has something that opens and closes to, you know, you breathe with it, right? And if you do these breath exercises, what happens in the beginning, it'll say stimulated, right? And then if you're watching it and you keep doing the deep breathing, right, the next phase that comes in is balance. That the breath is balanced, meaning that the exhale and the inhale come into a balance, right? And if you keep breathing that way, the next thing that happens is relaxed. So this is the natural state of the body, and we're practicing coming into this natural state, coming into this balanced state, so that the two aspects of the nervous system come into balance. And when they come into balance, it solves the equation, right? What's an equation? Equation in math, and I'm not a mathematician, but just occurred to me this way. An equation is when one side of the equation is not matching the other side, yes? Yeah. So in this practice, when the nervous system comes into a balance like an equation, what happens to the middle? What's the middle of an equation? What's the number? 0. Yeah, it's not a number, but that's 0 is the middle of the equation, right? So when the balance happens between the mind and the body, right, and it comes into balance, the experience is 0. And when 0 happens, what happens is the mind-body drops out, and the 0 allows for transcendence, because the 0 is your natural state. The 0 is awareness, right? The 0 is awareness. The 0 is nothing, right? What's nothing? 0. Right? So as soon as the balance occurs, right, the mind-body drops down and there's a transcendental experience and you're 0. And 0 as an experience, right, is completely balanced and satisfied, you know, not suffering, not needing anything, wanting anything. All the attributes of the natural state come into existence, and that's what you experience. Yeah. Gratitude doesn't come in. Gratitude is part of the natural experience. When you're in the experience of the natural state, right, there's an appreciation. There's just an appreciation. Yeah. For what? There's an appreciation for your existence. This is the baseline for well-being, is an appreciation for your existence. You know, once it leaves that, once it's not longer an appreciation for existence, and it's not an appreciation for existence, it then becomes an appreciation for what I have or don't have, or what I like or I don't have, what I don't like. Appreciation for what's happening at the moment as to whether or not that's what it should be, the way I want it to be. So gratitude is a natural experience, you know. Well, you know, it's like you can Practicing being grateful, practicing gratitude is like practicing compassion and practicing kindness, practicing loving kindness. You know, you hear that too in these teachings, right? And the reason that's done that way, and the reason the Dalai Lama talks about practicing compassion and kindness, which he does, right? Because basically what it's saying is, look, if you're not experiencing the natural state, and if you were, that would be the way you would be. But if you're not experiencing the natural state, fake it till you make it. If you're not experiencing the natural state, behave as if you are, and then you'll get the benefits that are available when you are in the natural state, even though you're not in the natural state. And if you experience the experience of practicing being kind and having compassion and being grateful, those experiences can be the perfume that you smell of the possibility of the natural state. Yeah. Well, you're not practicing resilience, you're practicing awakeness. And when you're awake, you see the need, you see the imbalance when it happens. When you're awake, you see the need for rebalancing yourself. And this can be something that you can practice. I mean, even before, I mean, when you get to, when you experience your natural state, when you make contact with your true nature, right? Resilience becomes a natural thing that happens, right? You just recover quickly, right? Because you realize that you went into the personality state and so forth. But even before that's the case, you know, when you understand these things and you understand that upset is an unnatural state, right? You understand that upset is an experience that the personality has, because the personality is always looking for something different than what's happening now, right? So if you understand that, just that understanding, that's why the teachings are important, because the teachings are important for two reasons. One, the teachings teach us about what it's like to experience the natural state. So it motivates us to practice in order to have that experience. But the teachings also tell us about what it's like to be in the natural state in terms of how it works and that it's workable. So even if you're not yet in the natural state, you can practice behaving like you would if you were in the natural state, so that you have less suffering, more satisfaction, right? More states of well-being. How do you do that? By paying attention. One of the things we're doing when we're practicing meditation is developing our ability to be aware of attention and to develop our ability to maintain constant attention. That's called concentration, right? The ability to maintain constant attention. Most people think they can do that. They think they're already doing that. You know, but if you start to pay attention to what's actually happening, you'll realize that what you thought was paying attention was having your attention taken. And when it's taken, you think you gave it, but you didn't give it. All you have to do is watch TV, right? And when the commercials come on, right, just watch the commercials, right? And if you're awake, you can see exactly what they're doing, right? To get your attention, to hold it, and then to do something with it, right? So that you need something or want something. That's the result that they want after the commercial, right? But if you understand these things and you pay attention to your attention as you go through the day, you'll watch what's taking it. And what's taking it has to do with the nature of the mind and the personality, because what's taking it is what you're interested in, and what you're interested in is what you don't have that you think you need and want. What you're interested in is what will give you pleasure. What you're interested in is what will protect you from danger. What you're interested in is will help you avoid being uncomfortable, right? You're even interested in what will help you avoid being inconvenienced, because inconvenience is all that it takes for you not to do something, right? It's too inconvenient. Sunday morning, less people come to the class because for the other people, it's inconvenient. They don't do that. Yeah.
So as far as like things taking your attention and paying attention, I mean, is there any other like tips or things you can help us with to help keep our focus on the attention? I find with me, I'm more of a multitasker, so I'm always moving on to the next thing, and hence I don't pay attention.
Yeah.
I try and like think to pay attention, but I don't pay attention.
Yeah, the personality can't pay attention because its attention is taken because it's interested in certain specific things, and that's what takes its attention. Right? The awareness isn't interested in anything in particular. It's already content and satisfied, so it's just watching the show, like that. It's entertained by the whole thing, right? But that's not the case for the personality, right? Now, here's the thing with the personality. This is something that I noticed the other day, because there are a lot of people that I work with that are saying, well, I know I haven't yet had a direct experience of my true nature, right? I'm practicing meditation with the intention that at some point I will have that experience, and I understand that after I have that experience, it'll be a different life that I'm living, and so I'm very interested in that. I believe it's possible. I believe it's true, right? People talk like that. And here's the deal, because when people talk like that and they're talking about, I don't know, I get the concepts, and I'm practicing meditation, but it just hasn't happened for me yet. The thing is this, the personality has a very clever trick that it plays, right? And what it'll do is it'll take the concepts that the teachings are presenting, and it will relate to the concepts by saying, well, I haven't yet experienced the natural state or the awareness. I haven't yet had a direct contact with that. So I'm still experiencing the personality. But I'm interested in it. It's my intention to do it, but I just, I don't know. Here's the deal. The personality will talk about itself being the personality as if it has a personality. Did you catch that? It'll talk about the personality as if it has a personality, and it's talking about having the personality and being stuck being the personality, right? But here's the deal. This is a clever trick the personality is playing, because it's the personality saying that. You see, so those of you who have a personality that's running that number, right? I suggest that you understand one simple fact, right? That it's not that you have a personality. You are that. You are that. It's not something that's happening to you or that you have. You are that. And you can't get off that dot. You can't get off that spot, right? So you are that. The only way you can get off that spot, right, is to allow yourself to calm the mind and relax the body sufficiently, right, so that you can get out from under the weight and the pressure and the tyranny of the identity that you're being as a personality, just long enough to notice that there is an awareness there, right, that you have ignored, right, that you have ignored because you're paying attention to what you think is real and true, which is the thought process in your mind that has you identify with that and then your personality. So you really have to be clear that, there's only two possibilities, right? Either considering yourself, identifying yourself the personality, or experiencing the truth, which is the awareness itself. They're the only two possibilities, right? So if you're not experiencing yourself as the awareness, you're being the personality, right? But the personality plays a lot of games, right? About being the personality, right? That's what keeps it in the personality, because the personality doesn't want to give up its domain, because if it gives up its domain according to the program that it is, it'll die, it won't exist. That's why it is so, you will use everything possible to maintain its existence. It will use every thought possible. Today I was looking at a comment that somebody wrote on the last talk that I uploaded on the YouTube channel. And the person said something, and then he said, "Are you brainwashing people?" This is the personality at its best, taking the role of the protector. Oh, I don't want somebody to brainwash me. I have to protect myself, and if I allow myself to accept what you're saying, I'll lose my identity and become your puppet. That's exactly what I'm doing. Well, I don't play into that stuff, but the reality of it is, that's an ironic and paradoxical question, because there is no greater brainwashing than to be a personality. Personality is the brainwash. A personality is the conditioning that had you buy into and believe that that's you. That's a brainwash, right? So the way I look at it is, this isn't a brainwash, this is a rinse and dry. so that you can relax and experience what's always been there behind the whole bullshit ideas about being brainwashed. The irony and the irony and the paradox about all this stuff is that while you as a person, while you believing yourself to be a personality or attempting to experience the reality of yourself, you are the reality of yourself at the very same time you're doing it. Because there's nothing that needs to be done to experience what's already the case. You can't argue with that logic. What is experiencing what's happening for you right now is you. What's experiencing what's happening for you right now is you, not who you think you are, not what you look at in the mirror and say, that body is me, not what the other people are relating to, right, as a personality, no. But there is an experiencer that's experiencing things all the time, right? You've taken that awareness and considered it to be an asset that you have as a personality, isn't it? You've taken that awareness and considered it to be an asset that you have as a personality, right? So that I could be more aware. I want to be more aware. You can't be more aware. Aware is aware. That's it. It's 100%. It's always 100%. The idea of being more aware is a game the personality plays as if it can be less aware or more aware.
But isn't the experience happening to both the natural you and the personality at the same time?
Yes. Yeah.
So you can experience it as personality and awareness.
Yes, but you see that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about balance. If the thing goes into balance and you come to zero, right? Then the mind and the body drop down, and you experience what's above it all, the experiencer of the mind and the body. Instead of experiencing and identifying yourself as the mind and the body, which is most people are, right? Most people are experiencing themselves as the mind and the body, right? Through the practice of meditation, we can bring the nervous system into a balanced state that comes to zero, right? When it comes to zero, there's no identity. Zero is no identity, right? Nothing, emptiness, awareness, right? So that's what happens when the nervous system goes into balance. The whole thing drops down, and you experience what's always been the experiencer of the mind and the body. And that experiencer of the mind and the body is free from any of what the thoughts say are true, free of any of what goes on in the body that the experiencer is unaffected by when it's being what it is. But when it's identified with the body and the mind, it suffers what the mind suffers and the body suffers. It's as simple as that.